Well, everyone, it's time for the review of Insidious 5, the final chapter. That's not what this movie's called. It's called The Red Door. Don't know why I said final chapter. This is the final installment in the Insidious franchise. We're back with the Lambert family. Darth Maul, he's here too, and things are going crazy. This is the directorial debut of Mr. Patrick Wilson, a face you've seen in these films, the Conjuring films, the Aquaman films. That's right, films. He's gonna be in the second one. And Insidious 5 gives you a film about trauma, facing the past, confronting the things that you don't like about your past, and fixing them now. Right off the bat, is this movie good? It's alright, I'll say that. For a fifth installment in a franchise, it's a fine ending. It's relatively satisfying. I really hope this is it. Let the family rest. Gosh dang. And there are some cool ideas I think Patrick Wilson does a good job of directing with. I think the cast does a good job, but unfortunately there also are some things that are a little messy, a little confusing. And this being the fifth installment in a franchise, sometimes it's hard to do stuff that feels different and innovative. Let's start with the scares themselves. There are a lot of jump scares, but I also feel like they spam the attempt of it's become a very popular genre of scares recently with films like Hereditary, It Follows, of thing in the background and it's creeping up and the character doesn't see it, but we see it. I think that's getting a little oversaturated too. I think there are some cool sequences, some cool ideas of scares that are here, and there are a few decent scares, but for the most part, nothing super innovative. I kind of get tired of the whole the sound drowns out, and I look this way, there's nothing there. I look this way, there's nothing there. And I look back, oh no, there's something there. That's kind of getting a little played out, and I feel like it's not even a jump scare anymore because we know it's happening. We're kind of just holding our breath, waiting for it. I think Chris as a player in this game was really cool. Bringing in a new character to the fifth installment is kind of a tough task, but for a comic relief character, for someone who is there to just support and vibe with Dalton, I thought she was really cool, really likable. I enjoyed her presence in this film. The rest of the family kind of takes a backseat in this one, which is a bit of a bummer. I think Rose Byrne is really cool. She kind of gets sidelined here. She's not really in it that much, but the film kind of focuses on Josh and Dalton, something that I actually think is kind of cool because the franchise very much spans around these two characters that have this ability to astral project. Let's talk about the astral projection itself, something that, it's a staple in the franchise, and I think that unfortunately for the most part, it's kind of hard to make the further interesting. It's kind of hard to make the whole astral projection thing interesting this late in the game. I think Patrick Wilson did a really job of shooting it. I think that visually those colors really pop. By filming just the regular daily lives in just this normal gray sense, it really makes these blues and reds really pop later on in the film. I liked that. Let's talk about the demons though, and I think that this is something that's interesting because every Insidious movie kind of has its demon, right? We get the lipstick demon, we get the bride in black, we get the key guy, Mr. Keys. Not DJ Khaled, not him. This one's kind of a strange thing because it seems like they don't want to commit to a specific demon, and I understand that because the gimmick of oh, this is the next demon, that's a little played out, but I think it kind of lacked focused threat from the further. We get the return of the lipstick demon, and I think he's cool for the little time he's there, but I feel like they never really committed to that idea of bringing him back. It's a little vague, and I think that unfortunately as the final culmination of this battle between Dalton and the lipstick demon, one of the most iconic things in this franchise, it's a little disappointing. I think some of the themes in this movie though are actually kind of cool. The whole idea of how you deal with trauma and how you can't just forget it. That's not a real solution. You have to live with it and learn to have it be a part of your life. I actually think that's a very real and interesting take on addressing trauma, and I think that people who, you stubbed your toe last week, you can't just be man, I gotta forget that time I stubbed my toe, that was awful. You gotta learn with it. You gotta learn how to move on, live life. Yeah, I stubbed my toe, but I'm getting better. More like the trauma of my Andrew Garfield video bombing or my movie theater one. I gotta live with it. And I think there are some cool ideas in this movie that are executed fine. I think that you really have to look into the details of it, which is fine. If you walk away from this movie and you're complaining because certain things didn't make sense, I think that's super valid. But in a world where we get a lot of bad entries in new horror franchises, I think this one is fine. I'm cool with this being the ending. I hope this is the ending because it could have been so much worse. I'm cool with it. This is where I'm going to put it on my tier list for the year. Thank you so much for watching. I genuinely appreciate you.